So we are going to move on to the antioxidant sports athletes section. So antioxidants, what does that mean? I'm not a chemist, okay? God is. He made all this stuff. It's pretty complicated, but it's pretty fascinating. From my limited understanding of it, it comes down to oxidative damage that happens within the body. What's oxidative damage? Think of rust. Think of a car rusting. Think of a nail rusting. That's oxidative damage. Think when you cut an apple open and it starts to turn brown, that's oxidative damage. So that's happening in our bodies all the time. So you want to slow the oxidative damage that's going on in our bodies because it's a normal process of the functions of daily life. When you eat food, there's metabolism, and a byproduct of that is going to be oxidation or oxidative stress. When you exercise, there's going to be oxidative stress. When you're stressed out, you're anxious, you're worried about stuff, there's going to be oxidative stress. So you have to fight against this oxidative stress through antioxidants, and that should be in our environment. It should be in our air, in our water, in our foods that we're eating. Do you know what you can put on an apple to stop it from oxidizing? Lemon juice. Okay, you could also put hydrogen peroxide on it. So there's different things you can put on it that'll actually slow down the oxidative process of damage happening. So again, I'm not a chemist, so might not explain this perfectly, but it has to do with the availability of free electrons in the body. Everybody's heard of electrons. You took science class. There's protons, there's neutrons, and there's electrons. Okay, one of the ways the body exchanges information in the body and transports things through the body is through electrons, and part of that process is done through minerals or ions, or if you've heard of ionic minerals, minerals suspended in water. Our body's a giant ocean of electrical activity. So the body's like an ocean. It's got water, it's got minerals, which are ions, which are ionic, that transport information through cells, through nerves, through membranes. It uses minerals to transport this information, and it uses electrons to transport this information. So when things enter the body, they're either oxidative, and they cause oxidative stress, or they're antioxidants, they work against oxidative stress. It has to do with the availability of electrons when that thing enters the body. When something enters the body that does not have enough electrons, it causes damage to the body because there's not enough electrons. When you put something in the body that's an antioxidant, it has extra electrons to give. So the parts of the body that are not working right or in bad shape get the extra electrons, and it negates the oxidative damage that's happening in the body. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. So there are a lot of foods and things that are antioxidants. The best antioxidants there are just the simplest, purest, most beautiful things God gave us. Running water. Clear running water. They actually say the highest negative ions, or the highest antioxidant of anything found in nature, is a waterfall. So think of like Niagara Falls. Think of the force of the water coming off of Niagara Falls. The water actually gets split because of the force of it, and that actually releases negative ions into the air. Another way to think of it is a storm. Have you ever seen like that crazy storm, and then the storm passes through and you go outside and it's like, it's the electricity, the electrons, the negative ions in the air that's that fresh, clean, healing type of sensation. So that's oceans crashing on a beach. So this is why people are drawn to the ocean. They're drawn to water. They're drawn to waterfalls. They're drawn to be outside. People want to go camping. They're in fresh air. They're by a stream. Why do people feel good when they're outside by streams and by oceans? This is one of the main reasons. It's the cleanliness of the extra available electrons that are clean, that are refreshing, that are healing, and that heal our bodies. We don't have a whole lot of that in Kansas City where we live. Right, honey? So, my wife's from Hawaii. So, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of that here. So it actually is harder to be healthy here because if you don't have fresh air, if you don't have fresh water, and then the opposite is true. Like if you live in Hawaii, it's really hard to be unhealthy. Like you have to really eat like junk to be unhealthy in Hawaii. And unfortunately, there's a lot of diabetes and health issues in Hawaii. But they have like the perfect environment to be healthy. So it's really important if you don't live in an area that's conducive to good health, like the ocean or the beach or Boulder, Colorado, or some of these places where, that's kind of part of the livelihood is being out in nature. It's really important to get antioxidants into the body. Now, I think the most important antioxidant, and I'm going to just talk about a couple of new things that we're going to be doing here before I kind of get into some of this. The best antioxidant you can put in the body is water. But you're not going to get antioxidants from drinking any water that comes out of your faucet, out of your tap, or any bottled water. So there's a big deal about alkaline water. And yes, the pH of the body needs to be neutral, 7.3, 7.4, right in that range. pH stands for the potential of hydrogen. That has to be balanced in the body. But what's more important than drinking alkaline water per se is actually getting antioxidants into the body that fight against this oxidative stress. That's what reduces damage to the body. That's what removes toxicity from the body. That's what removes acid waste from the body. That's what allows cells to heal and regenerate and repair properly. This is not having all this oxidative damage going on. So we're gonna sell some water machines that I've already ordered, and it's an alkaline water machine, and these have been around forever. And people are on both sides of the fence of this. I said this years ago. I got really into it for a while. I bought a machine that was way too expensive. It was like $4,000, and it was great, but I kind of fell out of it. And another reason is because you'll just see a lot of information on both sides of the fence. Well, you should drink alkaline water, you shouldn't drink alkaline water. And what I've come to understand where I'm at right now, and again, I don't ever claim to know anything because I'm always learning. The Lord's really highlighted to me the water recently, which is why I've gotten back into studying it. But what's way more important than drinking alkaline water, again, is the ability of this water to have an antioxidant effect on the body. And you can actually get a machine called an ORP meter that will check the water to see if it has free electrons available to give to the body when you consume it. So if you go buy bottled water, the ORP, which stands for oxidation reduction potential, the ability of that substance to reduce oxidation in the body, or is it going to contribute to oxidation in the body? In other words, again, think of a rusty nail. You don't want to be putting things in your body that would make a nail rust. You want to be putting things in your body that would stop the nail from rusting. Fair enough? That's why lemon's good in your water. Just a simple example, right? So an ORP meter will actually check whether the substance is oxidative, it's going to oxidize in the body, or it's going to be an antioxidant to the body. So if you test different bottled waters, even your alkaline water on the shelf, it's going to be oxidative. It's going to contribute to oxidative stress in the body. When you get a water machine that negatively ionizes the water, it turns the water into living water, much like you would find in a glacier somewhere, much like you can find in aquifers up in the mountains. They say the Hunzas who lived in the Himalayas, which is one of the longest lived cultures, the water they had up there in their mountains was a pH of about 9.5, but again, it's not just about the pH, it's about the water is a living substance. I mean, think of the Bible, living waters. What's flowing out of the throne room? Rivers of living water. What is one of the first things God created after he created the Garden of Eden? 4 rivers that flew out of the Garden of Eden. So flowing fresh water is very powerful. This is why mountain springs are so powerful. This is why springs that come out of the earth are so powerful, because it's living water. It's alive. It's moving. I always give this people an example all the time in my office, comparing to the body. Because if you look at the earth and the way God designed the earth, it's a reflection of how the human body is designed. Because he designed us to be one. So the body has these rivers in it. It's got a bloodstream, it's got a lymphatic system, and it has to be flowing. Would you rather the inside of your body be the Rocky Mountain, fresh mountain spring water up near the source of where that water comes from? Or would you want the inside of your body to be the green, stagnant pond down the road? Pretty obvious, right? We want the water to be flowing in our body. When the body gets stagnant, that's when the body starts getting overrun with infections. So to have good, clean, quality water that works for us, we have to have living water, and we just don't have it anymore. Who's got a spring somewhere? We don't have mountains here. The springs here, I haven't seen a lot of springs here. We got well water, but you can test that, and it's usually got a bunch of contaminants and weird stuff, and you live by farms, there's herbicides and pesticides and who knows what in it. Finding the most important substance to our existence today outside of our connection with the Spirit, the substance we need every day is water. It's the most important thing we put in our body, and we don't have access to good water. We just don't. We just don't. So that's why I really believe in the machines. And there might be other ways. You know, I have friends who are into water, and they get these machines called vortex machines that spins the water and makes it living and all this, and that's great. And what we've done for a while is we tell people, we'll get purified water, put the minerals in it, and that's life-changing for people. We're dust of the earth. So we get the minerals in the body. These are the ions that work in the body with the electrons to exchange information in this giant ocean of electrical activity. So those help nerves fire and muscles fire and the brain think and everything to work in the body. But to have living water that actually acts as an antioxidant is hard to find today. So that's, again, where the water machines come into play. So the ones we've ordered are from a company called Vaughn, and they alkalize the water. But I talked to a guy at the company, and he said, you know, I get the whole alkaline thing. Yeah, I know it's important. Most people are acidic, so getting alkaline is good. He said, but really, these should be called antioxidant water machines. They shouldn't be called alkaline water machines, because it's really the antioxidant effect of the water that's the greatest benefit. So when they take these ORT meters, again, oxidation reduction potential meters, and they put it in a sports drink, Gatorade, or they put it in the leading bottled water blend, or this pure Icelandic water, whatever, Fiji water, whatever, this bottled water, they find that it has a positive number, positive 200, positive 350. That's the oxidation damage that it's doing when it enters your body. And without proper nutrients, without proper minerals, you can't even get hydrated with that water, let alone the oxidative damage that it's causing when it enters your body. When you run the water through this machine, it negatively ionizes the water, so it creates an antioxidant effect. And when you measure the water, it goes from a positive number, which is an oxidative number, to a negative number. And they say you want the water to have at least a negative 50 to have an antioxidant benefit on the body. The Valera, when you run it through the machine, it has about a negative 550 is the antioxidant effect it has on the body. So again, what that's doing when it enters the body, it's releasing electrons all over the body to all the parts of the body that are getting oxidized, that are getting stressed, that are getting damaged, that are angry, that are inflamed, and it starts to make all that go away. It starts to clean up all of that damage. So that's why there's so many testimonials out there and articles written. I mean, these guys have articles from, like, I can't tell you how many major sports teams, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, Kansas City Royals. He sent me a letter written from the Kansas City Royals that basically said, because if you're an athlete, they monitor what you do. They want to know what you eat, how you're exercising. They want to know how you're living your life even outside of baseball, because you're like prime real estate. Like there's a high value on these guys, guys or gals, depending on the sport. So they really care about what they do, and they actually track the water that they drink. And they noticed that when they started using this water, the water consumption went way up for all of the group, because they were just craving the water. Their body wanted the water. But the other thing they noticed is they had less injuries, they healed faster when they were injured, and just the productivity went up in general. And he has letter after letter after letter from major professional sports teams. This isn't anything super new. I don't remember when it first came over. It's probably the 60s or the 70s, but the Japanese actually invented this. And they first brought that technology over to the United States. So anyway, that's a real brief on the water machines. They hook up to your faucet, just a standard faucet. People got fancy faucets this day, so you might have to go to the hardware store and get some other connector or whatever. But it hooks up to the faucet. If it's flipped up, it goes through the water machine and out. If it's flipped down, it comes out your faucet like regular tap water. So you can control, when you want to use the water or not. There's so many uses to it. We won't get into all that today. The negative ionization, the charge that it has on the water, only lasts 24 to 48 hours. So it's why it's good to have a machine if people can afford them. One of the reasons I went with this is it's just as good, if not better, than any of the other machines out there. Some of them cost $4,000, $3,000, $2,500. This one retails for $2,200. I'm going to buy them in quantities, bulk quantities, and going to be able to sell them for about $1,600. Which, yeah, it's still a chunk of change. But for somebody who has cancer, heart disease, diabetes, they're looking for answers. They've already spent who knows how many $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the medical community. To spend $1,500 on the most important thing that goes in their body that can potentially heal them, probably be a good investment for a lot of people. So that's kind of just in a nutshell about the water machines. Now, since we're still talking kind of about antioxidant negative ions, I want to talk about the air purifier that we have up there. Jen and I bought some air purifiers. Luckily, we'll just say it was the Lord intervened after we already bought these machines, and we learned that there's a big difference in the types and the quality of air purifiers out there. So the one we bought was a good machine, but it was only available to clean the air that it could grab. So in other words, you had a machine that had a fan, and it's like sucking in air, and it's cleaning the air. And that's a good thing. But what we learned is this machine that we got is actually an ozonator. It's an ozone machine. And instead of drawing in air and cleaning it, it puts out negative ions into the air. So it can cover hundreds of more square feet. It can get into other rooms. What's that?
30 feet.
Yeah, just that one thing can cover 3,500 square feet. That one little guy right there. So pretty much any home, you would be fine with just one of those. Let me explain one. So I know the whole, again, and I don't have it all down either. The whole science is pretty complicated, but there's positive ions and there's negative ions. Okay? Positively charged particles in general are contaminants. They cause damage to the body. Okay, so all of your pollution and your smog and your germs and bacteria and all these things are positively charged. We know that the homes are toxic. People got formaldehyde in their carpet and weird plaster in their walls. We got all kinds of weird stuff these days. We don't use natural building materials anymore. So people's homes are the air is very, very toxic, and even just in people's homes. It's full of the positive ions. Ozone is O3. What's oxygen? O2. So when you go to the hospital, you get O2. You get an oxygen tank, they hook you up to O2. You breathe oxygen, it helps you stay alive. When you do ozone, it's O3. When that goes in your body, what happens? You only need O2. So it releases an oxygen molecule into your body. That's a good thing. Okay? extra available oxygen to the body, very good thing. So just like antioxidant water, an extra oxygen molecule is going to go into the body, and it's going to kill a bacteria, kill a virus, repair a damaged cell. It's going to give oxygen to something, or it's going to kill a bad guy. So if you lived in Germany or so many other countries that are more receptive of natural medicine, or what I would just call God's medicine, the things God gave us, you would do ozone therapy. You would get hooked up to an ozone machine if you had cancer, because it would make you better. I worked with a guy in Las Vegas who did ozone secretly out of his house, just kind of. He actually worked with a nurse. They did IV ozone to people. They would do ozone machines and actually insert it into their nose and into their ear. You can insert ozone into an open orifice of the body with an ozone machine. Knew a guy, brain tumor, diagnosed brain tumor, did ozone through his ear for a couple of months, went back to the doctor, brain tumor was gone. So extra oxygen into the body is very, very powerful. So what happens with the air machine is the O3 goes into the air, the extra oxygen molecule basically hits positively charged molecules and hits them, and they fall out. It renders them inert. It renders them non-toxic, non-damaging. They're gone. They're away from your environment. They can't harm you anymore. So not only is it going to clean up your air that you breathe, but also as you breathe in this, it's going to have that effect on the body. It's going to kill mold. It's going to kill fungus. It's going to kill candida. It's going to kill all types of bacteria and viruses and contaminants in the home. It's going to disable different smog or pollution or anything like that. I got these other units that are really cool. They're little handheld units. You can bring them with you on an airplane. Where's a place that people are really worried about getting sick when you travel? You have one of these with you, you charge it, you bring it with you, it's like a force field around you. If a germ or a bacteria or something was coming near you, all of a sudden this guy's emitting this ozone around you like a force field. Here comes a little germ, the ozone hits it. So it's like a little force field around you. It's pretty cool. And you think about people, they're sick and they catch everything going. They're wearing masks. You've seen people wear masks around because they get sick so often. I mean, what an awesome thing, for people to have. So I'm pretty excited about the water machines and the air purifiers. So that's kind of a brief, I'm sure I missed some things, but that's kind of a brief explanation and understanding of that. Did that kind of make sense? I know the science stuff, again, I don't have it all down. It's kind of complicated. God's a pretty amazing designer. But I think the air purifiers, the big ones, are going to be like $5.99. There's a smaller version that are going to be like $3.25, I think, that would do like 1,500 square feet, which would be perfect for somebody like in their bedroom or just in like one room of the house. Or say their child has asthma, you put it in the children's room. So if somebody has asthma or allergies, this is like a lifesaver. Just one of these little air machines. So does that all make sense? I mean, do you guys have questions about that? No questions on that? Huh? May the force be with you. Yes, it's called Air Personal or something like that. Yep. So we got the Air Personals, we got a smaller sized air purifiers, and we got the big sized air purifiers. The living water machines is just one machine. What was that? Smallest one's gonna be $99. The baby bear. Yeah, we got baby bear, mama bear, and papa bear. That's fine. Okay. So no other questions on the water or the air? I thought there might be, because I know that was kind of sciencey stuff. Good? Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to... Yes, good. Sir.
So it filters out all the bad stuff too. What about the minerals?
The water?
Is it taking out all the minerals?
No, it doesn't. So here's the cool thing about positive and negative charge. It's kind of like when I talk about, like God's creation, like He knows what's good for us and what's bad for us, and there's things in the environment that are good for us that should be in our bodies, and then things that are bad for us that shouldn't be in our bodies. And so there's that innate intelligence of God's design. So if you drink good quality water, or you take tap water and you run it through this machine, that ionizes it and cleanses and purifies the water. This machine doesn't remove all the minerals like reverse osmosis or distilled water. It doesn't do that. It actually just takes out the bad particles. So it removes all the contaminant particles, but leaves all of the good stuff, which would be the minerals and the negative ionization, the extra electrons, all of that. Does that answer that? Yeah. So, of course, I still would encourage people to do, we're big on doing this Himalayan salt in the water and the blue ocean minerals and the plant minerals.
Right.
I mean, people cannot get enough minerals today. That is for sure.
Minerals in your water?
Huh?
Carbon minerals in our water? Tap water?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You think we have?
Yeah, there's minerals in the tap water. Yeah, if you drink tap water. Yeah, you get a good combination of everything. You get your fluoride, your chlorine, your minerals. You get the gamut. So, Astaxanthin. Everybody says this, so I'm going to say it. But from what I know, most potent antioxidant known. Now, if somebody's selling grapeseed or olive leaf or whatever else, they're going to tell you it's the most potent antioxidant on the planet, because that's what everybody does who's selling something, right? But from everything I've studied, there's a lot of claims that this is the most potent antioxidant out there. And we've experienced it. A lot of people here, I think you guys have all tried this and experienced it. This is awesome. This is something I take every day. Of all the things I've studied and researched over the years, this is one thing I continue to take on a daily basis. There's not a lot of things we take every day. I first learned about this in Las Vegas, and it's really hot there. And when you take this, you don't get sunburned. If you're super pale or fair-skinned, of course you can't go out in the sun for the first time in 6 months for 7 hours and not expect to get sunburned. But if you start taking this, the antioxidant effect protects your skin. It protects your body. It protects your eyes, protects your heart, it protects all the parts of your body, your cells. Just like the antioxidant water, this has that antioxidant effect on the body. And where people notice it the most, one is you go out in the sun and you don't get burned as quickly or as often. I am very fair-skinned. I would burn, I'd be miserable for 3 days, and I'd peel for a week. That was my whole, youth. When I started taking this, I started tanning. So, like when I talk about the sun, God designed us to absorb light. The sun's not bad for us, it's good for us. Our skin turns color and the pigment gets dark and the melanin gets darker because God designed us to absorb light. He's making our skin darker so we can absorb more light, absorb more of Him, right? So the astaxanthin actually gives the body those powerful protective mechanisms that the body needs to absorb more light, to be healthy, to be well, to be putting in the things of God that are supposed to be in the vessel. So that's where I noticed it the most. And I never forget one time we went to Hawaii, and it was the first time they took me body surfing. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna love it." And I tried the surfing and paddleboarding was okay. I got out on that boogie board and I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, "Let's go again, woo!" And I was riding the waves, and I was out there mid Hawaii sun, and we came from here to go out there, and it was probably winter here. I don't know when we went out there. And so I came in from 5-6 hours in the sun, totally forgot about sun. Not that I would use sunscreen, but whatever. And I was red, and I was taking astaxanthin, and I was like, "What's up? I take astaxanthin. I don't burn." And so I was red, and Jen was surprised too. She's like, "I can't believe you're so red." Woke up the next morning, I was tan. It was crazy. I was tan. The red was gone. I was tan. It's shocking. So I've seen that with a lot of people with the astaxanthin. The other thing people take astaxanthin for is athletes. Strength, stamina, endurance, cuts muscle recovery, time, big time. When I had the store over at Overland Park, one time Cirque du Soleil came into town. You guys know Cirque du Soleil? All those crazy acrobats? They came into town, they called the store, they said, "Do you carry astaxanthin?" We said, "Yes." They said, "How many bottles do you have?" I said, "I don't know, 23. And they said, "Okay, set them to the side, we'll be there in 20